Today, I wanted to talk about the topic of narcissism, specifically growing up with a narcissistic parent, because whenever I go to look online or stuff, I see videos similar, but I don't see anybody touching on the specific topic, and I feel like it's a topic that needs a lot of awareness. I just hope this video can reach out and help a couple people. Without further ado, let's get into it. First, let's just talk about what is narcissism, actually. A lot of people don't really know the full definition. I'm just going to look up the actual definition of a narcissist. So this is just Google's definition. It says an individual with an excessive, unhealthy sense of self-importance, a deep need for admiration, and lack of empathy for others. And I think that's what people just assume it is completely and don't look over the specifics. One thing that I want to keep in mind here is a narcissist is not somebody who is like the most confident person in the world. Narcissists are very insecure people. They're more insecure than most. So they seek validation through testing love and unhealthy ways just to feel important, because they can't validate themselves to feel important. So they need that constant admiration from others. A lot of people, TV shows, movies like to depict a narcissist as somebody who really knows what they want, very confident, very with themselves, and that's just not true. A narcissist is somebody who has no idea what they think. They are emotionally intelligent and they need constant validation from others just to feel okay. What does narcissistic abuse actually do to you? Growing up with a narcissistic parent, it's very hard to depict the type of abuse that they give you. I don't know how to explain it, but it's not very clear that they are abusing you or that you are losing yourself. It happens very slowly, and it happens so slowly that it's almost impossible to get back. You learn to doubt your own feelings and thoughts. This is very, very important because growing up, it's important that we know our own identity. We know what we think, what we believe. And if you grew up with a narcissistic parent, that just goes out the window. You can think something and they can make you think a completely different thing. And over time, your brain can start thinking like them, which is something we need to unlearn. You overanalyze everything you say or do. Because love is not guaranteed with a narcissist, you're not always going to feel love no matter what you do. You only will feel love if you please them enough or are good enough for them. So you start to analyze everything you do or say with everybody else. Because now you don't know if it's guaranteed to get validation from. Now you need to check before you say something to make sure you're not upsetting somebody. Which brings me to my next point. You feel like your love is very conditional. It's very set in stone based on what you do for them. Viewing love as conditional as a kid very much so affects your view on love when you're getting into a relationship or just a friendship. The second you mess up, the second you say something wrong, it can all just go away. And that is not a healthy mindset to be in, but that's the reality for a lot of people who have dealt with narcissistic abuse. You become very hyper aware. That is the number one thing I've noticed with people who struggle with narcissistic abuse. They are very self-aware of their emotions, other people's emotions compared to other people. A lot of people see that as a good thing, of being super self-aware of everything. I'm telling you, it's not. You know, it seems like that because it seems like you're just so above everybody, like just know all these things and people just need to wake up. I hate to say it, you actually need to change your mindset. That is not a healthy, realistic mindset to be in long term. Trust me, I'm saying this as somebody who is very self-aware with what is going on around them. I can feel it ruining my mood. You know what I mean? For example, if I'm having a good time with somebody, I'll be so self-aware in it. I'll think to myself, why am I having a good time right now? We're not doing anything fun. And just thinking about it so much that the happiness just completely goes away. Because I'm thinking, why should I be feeling happy right now? And that is not healthy. You feel guilty for setting strong boundaries. This is the last thing I wanted to talk about in this video. This is really important because it's very important for everybody to possess very strong morals and values within their individual person. It's really important to also communicate those boundaries and values to your future partners, your future friendships, to anybody in your life so they don't get stepped on. When you've dealt with somebody like a narcissist growing up, it's kind of almost impossible to communicate your feelings or even know what boundary is a good boundary. Let me be the one to tell you this. Almost every single boundary is an okay boundary to set. Like you saying, please leave me alone. I don't want to talk. I don't want to do that. This is what triggers me. Those are healthy boundaries that everybody should be setting for themselves, including you. Growing up, we're learned to feel guilty for thinking something differently. We need to learn how to validate ourselves with our own opinions. When we learn to validate ourselves, you don't need anybody else to validate your opinion. You can think whatever you want and know that it's valid because you know it's valid. And that's the only way that you're ever going to see change. You weren't taught to trust your own feelings. I feel like most of us tend to read other people's emotions and behaviors and try to help them instead of focusing on what you're feeling and experiencing and how to move forward for that. And I understand it feels really uncomfortable to validate yourself and validate just being alone. And that's definitely something that's going to take practice. I hope it helps to know that the only way that you're ever going to feel validation is through yourself. The next category is alone, but not lonely, because you don't feel validation and you don't feel that love is always going to be there. When you are alone, it feels like the whole world is over. So being alone in itself can feel like a huge rejection. I know a lot of us might have like FOMO or something. I believe FOMO isn't true because I believe issues like that are just fear of rejection. Because if you think about it, you don't want to be hanging out with your friend every single thing they're doing. Like, truly would you want that? Or do you want them to want to hang out with you? And do you want them to think you're interesting and miss hanging out with you and want to reach out? And just knowing those certain changes and knowing why you feel this way can really help you unlearn how to feel that way. I'm gonna say all this and it's gonna be way easier said than done. These are things that I'm still learning how to do. Just learn to enjoy your own presence. Learn to compliment yourself, talk to yourself, be your own best friend. If you gotta tell your friend something, tell yourself. Set boundaries and protect your energy. This is so important because we've used up all of our energy. It's just to the point where nobody else should be able to take that energy from us. Don't give everybody access to you. You don't need to explain your boundaries, explain why you feel this way for someone. You feel how you feel and they cannot change that. It's not their job to convince you to feel something different because they believe it's wrong. It doesn't matter what they think. Their opinions, your opinions. Somebody says something's wrong, you say it's right, cool. Then I would go with what you think because they're equal. Nobody's opinions have more authority over you no matter how they present them. Learn to distance yourself from draining people. You know that they aren't genuine, you know that they're calculated, and you know that whatever chance you give them, they will just take it from you. Lastly, I have unlearn what you were taught. This is the biggest step, and this is the only step where you can actually feel change. It's not going to be overnight. It's not going to be like that. What is that word called? I want to look this up because I want to make sure I get it right. It's neuroplasticity. I hope I'm saying that right. Definition on Google is your brain's remarkable ability to recognize, restructure, and create new neural connections throughout life. So it's basically saying, long story short, that no matter what you think right now or what you believe, it can be changed. Your brain is so incredible in the fact that it's constantly changing. You can basically become any version of yourself that you want. If you want to become a positive person, try just thinking more positively than negatively in a situation for like, I don't know, a month or two. That's just how your brain will be now. Like your brain will change into that default positive mindset. A lot about what you think about yourself isn't true. It's just a condition of the reality that you have taught your brain. That is all for this week's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed. I hope this video was at least helpful for some people. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.